Juveniles arrive at Lake County Juvenile Complex via the intake department, where probation officer Elizabeth Slokta prepares to check in another female offender.
Intake. Where did she run away from?
She ran away from her mother's house, but she's denying running away and saying she was at her grandmother's house with her baby because her mother kicked her out. And that she went home for something and then her mother called the police. So we'll find out.
Unlock. Door.
Kymada, come on out.
I'm upset because I'm back here again, but this time it's for misunderstanding. When I was 14, the first time I ran away, my mom was going with me for something I didn't do. And I couldn't take it no more. And then I started running away, fighting her, just going wild because nobody was paying attention to me.
Do you remember the intake process? The last time when you were here?
Yes.
You know you're referred here for runaway. Did you have any problems up until recently?
Well, my mom said if I couldn't abide by her rules, I had to leave. And now I'm staying with my godmom.
And your mother approved this?
Yes. That's why
I don't understand why you're arrested.
I've been doing good for a year now, and after I had my baby, it's the first time I slipped up, but I didn't do anything wrong. It was just lack of communication.
We will go ahead and call your mother from here. Are you gonna wanna talk to her? You do wanna talk to her.
Decades of research shows that the two leading contributing factors to juvenile delinquency are peer pressure and family stress. For Kymada, her troubled relationship with her mother always seems to play a role in her decision to run away.
Hello?
Hi, Kimberly. This is Elizabeth from Lake County Juvenile Center. Kymada wants to speak to you.
So, yeah, I should have called somebody to let y'all know I was okay. But I was doing good. I'm doing good.
No, Yada, you're not doing good when you run the streets and you partying and not coming back. You need to be responsible. You won't get on the birth control pill. You're not doing anything I ask you. Now, all of a sudden, because you locked up, you want to make changes now.
No, that's not true, because I was making changes before this even happened.
Not in the street, Yada. You can't make changes in the street.
Okay, I slipped up. I know that.
How long were you going to be in this slip up, Yada? That's all I'm saying. No, you're going to stay there.
Because she was arrested on a Friday, Kymada will have to wait till Monday to see a judge, which will mean remaining incarcerated for the weekend. Weekends at LCJC are a busy time. The population consists both of offenders waiting to go in front of the judge and those who are serving out fixed terms via weekend stint in detention. The longer the term, the greater the stress for the child.
He pulled the screw out of the desk, you know, that long bolt, probably like 8 or 10-inch bolt. You always got to be alert. You always got to be thinking. You got to watch everything they do. All right, we're going to take him as he is. We'll wrap him up and go. Typically, if there's a code, 9 times out of 10, you know it's coming. I mean, you're not always a mind reader, but you know it's coming. This kid's angry. He's been just snapping off on everybody, and just so when you hear the code, it's like, oh, I bet it's so-and-so.
Gentlemen, pay attention to what you're doing on the card table.
I try to establish a pretty good rapport with our problematic kids so that hopefully upon my arrival, I'm able to talk to them.
Open the door. Put your hands on the table and then against the wall. Put your hands against the wall, Will. Okay, Will.
What is your problem?
What do you mean, what is my problem? That was your contraband, that's not mine.
Kevin, don't show your rear end.
Man.
Turn around.
Y'all got me tripping.
Kneel down.
No, hell no, man.
Kneel down, Kevin.
No. Get down, man. That's what we asking. Jerry. Hell no, man. Get off me. I'm out.
Solid.
Code green echo, code green echo.
Solid.
Green basically is considered a general emergency.
It's a situation where we need backup. We need extra personnel to come down and help out. It's for the safety of the kid and for the safety of the staff.
Yeah, you do it so easy, lady.
The frustrating thing about a Code Green is you're running into the situation blind. You have no idea what you're going into.
Keep it leg. Now you gonna do this, give me your arm. Give me your arm. Give me your arm.
It's our responsibility to keep all kids safe. We're going to do whatever we got to do to keep the child safe, and we do that with maximum numbers, minimal force.
Give it to me. My motherfucking arm's cut out of me. Give me the other arm. Give it to me. Hey, guys. Kneel up.
Do you need cuffs?
No, we got him.
We got him.
I got him.
Stand up.
Stand up. Kevin.
You can stand up. Stand up. Yeah?
Yeah, I got him by the cuffs right here. Charlie.
He just had this boat, and he's been threatening that he's going to hurt first staff that comes into the room or one of the other residents who may try to come after him. He's been here for a while, and that starts to get to you, too. If you know the outcome of whatever's going to happen to you, there's a sense of peace in that. I'm either going to get to go home or I get to go to placement. When you have no idea what's going to happen to you, you do start to go crazy.
You had your chance, Kevin.
It's impossible to determine why a child ends up in detention, why kids end up at risk, without first taking a look at their home environment and the communities from which they come.
I'm from Chicago, and it's a lot of gang banging, shooting going on, and you see it up close and personal and stuff. So I had to grow up early and just experience a lot of stuff, so I know how it is.
I got one more weekend. I'm not doing nothing else. Nothing. Never coming back.
I've been doing so good. I used to be bad. I used to be horrible. Didn't care about nothing.
But this time, I ain't even doing nothing.
And at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, I miss my baby. That's why I'm so emotional. It is hard being a 17-year-old mama because I'm still a kid too. And I've never been away from her like this. Never, it's hard.
Every time I turn around, I see her face. I don't see her face because I'm up in here.
You'll be fine. You'll go home. Just 2 more days.
Now that I'm a teen mother, partying's gotta stop. I gotta think more. Like, yeah, I can spend time by myself or whatever, but just next time, just make sure I call someone to check up on them.
One of the only high points of time spent in LCJC is family visitation. Unfortunately for Kevin, his mother says that her work schedule and transportation issues make it difficult for her to visit. Since he's been here, she's only come to see him once.
Y'all think y'all playing with me? I'll kill myself. Perfect. I'm gonna be naked. I'll jump off my sticky. Y'all ain't gonna do about it. All right. I'm still gonna kill myself, so don't worry.
Because Kevin has threatened to hurt himself, he'll be put on 24-hour watch. Everything but a paper blanket will be removed from his cell.
Get his drawers, too. Is he gonna kill himself? Just leave him cuffed and check. I'll go put one person at the door. Let him be till he calms.
Sunday afternoon, the day before court, Kymada will meet with her attorney, Don Ruck, to discuss the next day's strategy. Their biggest challenge? Convincing the judge that Kymada should go home with her mother, despite their difficulties.
I want to take a few minutes to get a sense of what we need to do to accomplish what I anticipate is your desire to go home.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that particularly concerns me is that not too long ago, you had a very similar charge. You were charged with running away, right?
Yeah, but this time it was a misunderstanding.
Okay, well, how do we explain when the judge asks Kymada, now we're here again, what's different this time?
It was a misunderstanding because at this time, I don't stay with my mom, I stay with my godmom. So that's why I was hurt and confused because why would she make this as a runaway and I'm not a runaway? I just needed some time to myself because being a teen mother, that's hard. I told the police, I'm like, it was getting late and she was getting cranky. Maybe she get irritated, I just don't know what to do. And I thought I was gonna lose it. So I just took her to a safe place, to her grandmother's house. I just dealt with the best way I could, so I won't do anything stupid. I slip up, teenagers slip up, you know, but I'm not a bad child anymore.
Okay, so we not only have to convince the judge, we have to convince your mother. And my hope is a lot of the love that you have for your mother will come through and that that'll resonate with your mother tomorrow. Because frankly, my big concern is convincing your mother that it's time for you to go home. Many times there are parents who will get on the stand who will say, I cannot take my child home with me. And if that's the case, there's very little that I can advocate that's going to change that. Tonight, when you're thinking about court tomorrow, what I want you to do is think about the relationship you have with your daughter and what it would mean to you as a mother to have your daughter someday leave and not know where she is. Part of what I do as a defense lawyer in these cases is trying to elicit testimony that a parent sitting in the background can hear and maybe influence and change how steadfast they are to their decision that their child should not come home. There you go.
The degree of family involvement varies from case to case. Most juvenile service professionals recognize family involvement as one of the key factors in gauging the potential success of a kid's rehabilitation.
You standing to the side of somebody, you're not in line. Fellas.
I'm not nervous at all because it was just a misunderstanding. The judge gonna listen to my mom, but once she hear my side of the story and she'll know where I'm coming from, she'll understand too, and so will everybody in the courtroom.
I need Kymada Dirt. Good morning, Kymada. How you doing? Ready for court? Right this way, please.
Hopefully I'll go home. Then I'll be with my baby.
Right this way, Kymada. Right over to this chair.
I'm just gonna explain myself from the beginning to the end, leave no parts out, because it's two sides to the story.
This young lady is charged with runaway, is that right?
Correct.
All right, Kymada, have a seat up here, please.
Kymada, you're charged with running away. Tell us what happened.
Well, Monday, me, my boyfriend, and my cousin had the baby, and we was out all night. We didn't call nobody. I think Tuesday, I dropped my daughter off at her grandmother's house because I was getting agitated with her. This is not my first time getting agitated, so I
Agitated with your mother?
No, my mom had nothing to do with this. It was my daughter. She was sleepy, I was getting cranky, everything. So we was out late. I just needed some me time. Away from the baby, away from everything. After that, we didn't call nobody or let them know we was okay. So of course, they're gonna make them reports because they didn't know where we was at or I didn't call anybody.
Well, Kymada, since I think a large part of what the outcome of today's hearing is likely to be is going to involve what your mother has to say, do you have anything you want to say to her to influence her decision as to whether or not she thinks you should come home with her today?
Well, the being disrespectful, cussing you out, when we get into it, I know I do it, everybody does it. But this time, I really have changed. Yes, I slipped up, but it's not like I'm continuing to do the same things I was doing when I was 14 years old. So I have been making progress.
Okay, Judge, that's all I have.
Mrs. Guzik?
Kymada, where had you been with that baby all night?
Over my cousin's house. We spent the night over there because it was late.
Is that a habit of yours to take this baby and drop it off in different places?
No, that is not a habit, no.
And how old's your boyfriend?
He's 18.
Is he in school?
No, ma'am.
Are you seeing a pattern here? You're not detecting a pattern of doing things in your life that isn't in your best interest?
But I can't look at what he's doing. I gotta do for me. Yeah, we going together, but people gonna do what they want to do.
I have no further questions, Judge.
All right, Kymada, you may have a seat back there. Next witness.
Judge, I'm going to call Kim Foster to the stand, please. Ms. Foster, so the court can get at least a better understanding of who Kymada is. Tell us about your daughter.
She's always had issues. I've always tried to address those issues through doing and being the best mom I possibly could. Unfortunately for Kymada, she needs more attention than I can give her because me and my husband both work. To the point where we are now, it started with being disrespectful with me. After that, we laid down the law. Either you abide by our rules or you need to go somewhere else. She chose to go and be with her godmother. It's fine. I know where you're at, you're safe, we'll work this out.
And you were okay with that. In fact, you presented her with that as an option.
Exactly, because I trusted that person and I knew she would be safe with that person.
Okay, so she didn't leave the house without your permission, did she?
If there's one thing that Senior Judge Mary Beth Bonaventura has learned in her 26 years on the bench, it's that every case is different and you never quite know what to expect.
You can sentence someone to death, you can sentence someone for life imprisonment, but to try to figure out how to put a family back together in about 30 minutes after you read the reports of a certain pattern of behavior that probably has gone on for years is a very tricky thing to do, a very important thing to do, and wow, the impact we can have if we get it right.
So far, we know Kymada's side of the story. But what will her mother say when she's asked to describe why she thinks they're in the situation that they are today?
She chose to go and be with her godmother.
Okay, so she didn't leave the house without your permission, did she?
No, she didn't, because I gave her an option. I said, you abide by the rules or you can go.
And then at some point you called the police and reported her as a runaway.
Okay, now, she didn't call, she didn't check in, she didn't do anything. So the same pattern with me, she did with the godmother. And I knew then that they were just on the run. They were, and she neglected to say, drinking, smoking, partying, having a good time. So now I need to step in and I have to do something to keep her safe, along with keeping the baby safe. So I put in a missing persons report. I want it to stop. I want her to go to school so that when she gets out into society, she won't be another statistic. She won't have a child who I have to take care of because I want her to raise her own daughter.
Ms. Foster, would you be willing to take your daughter home if the court provides a supervision?
I don't believe it would be successful.
Kymada, first of all, you talked about that you were disrespectful and you cussed your mother out. You said everybody does it. I got news for you, sweetie. Not everybody cusses their parent out, okay? So that's first and foremost. Secondly, you going out and taking your baby and staying out all night, and you needed some me time. I got news for you about that. When you decide to have a baby, there is no more me time. The me time goes out the window when you decide to have a baby, and I agree with your mother. You can't be bringing a boy into the house because you're just going to get pregnant again, which leads me to my next point. Do you use birth control?
I get the shot.
Your mother's shaking her head no. Yes, ma'am.
I tried. I even took her to the, I'm not gonna take the shot. That's not good for me. I'm not gonna take the shot.
I didn't want to take it in the first place.
All right. Do you think you need to have another baby?
No, I do not.
So what are you going to do about birth control?
I might as well go ahead and take the shot then.
Anything else?
Kids are having sex. And I think as a nation, we need to really look at kids having kids. Somebody's got to stop it. I'm not saying I can do it single-handedly, but someone has to talk to children that there is abstinence, but if you're gonna have sex, there's condoms and all other forms of birth control. Let's try to be as responsible as we can.
Mrs. Guzik, anything?
Well, Judge, I think that Kymada in her youth is a very selfish person. And I think we're seeing that and hearing that today. What I haven't heard today in here at all is I miss my baby, I want to go home. I think Kymada's going to keep doing what she wants to do. I think she's too young to understand what's in her best interest, and the court needs to step in to assist her.
Judge, Kymada says she wants to go home. She swears she's going to do better. I agree. We've all heard that before. Now, I would just ask that the court consider the available options the court has, given the fact that we're dealing with two children, not just one.
Thank you.
At this point, it seems doubtful that the judge will decide that Kymada's side of the story holds weight, that it was just a simple mix-up. What isn't clear is whether or not she'll decide to let Kymada go home with her mother, and if that's what her mother wants at all.
Today, what the court will do is find probable cause to believe that this young lady is in need of services, that no matter where she's placed, Kymada be provided parenting classes, that she begin the process of working on her GED. If the parents decide not to take her home with them today, I'm going to order that she be placed on or before 4 p.m. today at Alternative House, and they'll provide those services. And last but not least, I'm going to order individual and family counseling. This hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay. Kim, I'll be in touch with you. I'll let you know what they decide. Okay? Let me talk to you guys outside.
I can't help you with her. I'm working on it. Let me see what you're doing here. Okay. I love you. Okay.
I love y'all. And she knows I love her. I love you.
Let me talk to you guys out here.
Unlike her mother, Kymada's stepfather isn't certain whether or not placement in a residential treatment facility will be in Kymada's best interest. It's not an easy decision for parents to make, and Don Ruck knows some difficult choices lie ahead.
There's two options, really. Is that at 4 o'clock today, Kymada is going to go to a home where obviously there's a lot of structure like you were talking about. Or she could go home and be released to you guys today with the list of interventions and services that the court said.
We're still at odds on that view.
They're talking about it now, and I know deep inside, with my dad's help, that I'll be going home and be placed on house arrest.
Kim is her mother.
What's best for her?
Yeah. Hi, Kymada. Why don't you come on out here? I'll talk to you out here. Unfortunately, your mom said that you need a lot of structure right now and that your history of breaking the rules is something that's not likely to change. So the court's order that you be placed at the Alternative House in Gary today at 4 o'clock. So until maybe some counseling and things can take place between you and your mother, while you're still underage, if you can't go to your mother, you're going to have to be in placement. Okay, hang in there. Hang in there.
It may help and it may not help, but I can't allow her just to get away with whatever. And she's just saying these things because she is in trouble. And that's just the pattern. That's been the pattern. And so this is the beginning. This is the start.
Just 2 weeks after leaving for her placement facility, Kymada received some surprising news from the home front. turns out her parents have reconciled their differences about where Kymada and her baby should live. They've requested a review hearing with the court, and so now Kymada finds herself back in front of the judge.
Mother and Kymada have met and talked, and Mother believes now that it's in Kymada and her best interest to have Kymada released back into Mother's custody today.
Ms. Foster?
A couple of weeks back, you indicated that you felt you really couldn't commit to taking Kymada home with you. Tell us what's happened since then.
During that short time, I have made phone calls, done some research, finagled, and moved around schedules so that there could be someone in the home, because I felt it was the best interest of Kymada, along with the family and her daughter, for her to be more at home.
Why did you do all of those things and make all of those changes?
Because I love my daughter.
Okay. Have you met with Kymada or talked with her since she's been away?
Yes, I have.
Tell me about that.
Yada understands that it was her behavior that put her in this situation. She has some maturing to do. But other than that, she's been fine. She needs to raise her baby. That's her baby. That's her responsibility, along with being a productive adult. And I believe being at home, along with the structure of the court and any provisions made to help her, would achieve those.
That's all the questions, Judge.
I'd like to say one thing.
Go ahead.
From the statement that the lady, I don't know your name, about my baby.
What I haven't heard today in here at all is I miss my baby, I want to go home. I want to be with my baby. I haven't heard any of that.
I felt very, very bad on that statement that you said, and it hurt me really bad because I do love my baby a lot, and it's a lot of young girls that's my age just don't care about their baby and just go out and just do whatever. But I have tried a lot in my progress, and that really hurting me so bad because I do love my baby. But yes, I know I was wrong, and I would love to go home and start over again because I know I can succeed. That's all I just want to add.
I just want Kymada to understand my concern is always for the baby. She's a helpless individual. If you're acting out of her concern first and foremost, that's the only thing I want to see happen. So if even my comments make you do that, then I've accomplished what I want.
Mr. Rock, anything else?
Judge, I think Kymada has done what we hope happens when somebody is not released home to their parent. And that's that they think not just about what they did, but what the people in this courtroom told her. The structure's in place at home. Kymada's ready to take responsibility for herself and her child, and the court should reconsider at this point releasing her to her mother today.
I think for her and for a lot of kids her age, it's growing pains, and we just have to figure out how to help her get through that. Today, what the court will do is grant your request in order that she be released and returned to your custody, and I'll order that she have individual and family counseling to resolve the issues that are obvious from the last hearing so that we don't find ourselves back here again. All right, I'll order that you be released to your mother, and this hearing's adjourned. Good luck.
We're going home. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Take care, okay?
Man, I'm super, super, super happy. Too happy. Yeah. Just waiting to get home to my baby. That's on my mind and focus on my life.
I think that probably the 2 weeks away in a placement facility gave her additional time to think about it. 2 weeks is a long time to be away from your baby, so I think there's probably been some life changes going on, and the mother went to the lengths of changing their work schedules, which is commendable. And I think, you know, they're a decent family that's going through some bumps in the road, and it looks like they're on the way to smoothing those out.
Hey, you get to go home. Where's your baby?
Her grandma.
Oh.
The daddy's house.
I have learned, and I just did a complete change. Put my baby first, focus on my education, get my GED.
You're a good kid, Kymada. You'll do just fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be a challenge. It's in the best interest of the baby along with Kymada, and hopefully she'll work the program and she won't be back in here. It's still up to her. She still has to work it.